What is good, sneaker people? It's your boy Snkrsloveme, and I am back with another episode of Inside the Box, where we go over the current sneaker releases of the week and we keep it real for a few minutes. Let's get into it. The Air Jordan 7 Olive, really cool colorway. You have some taupe hints, natural colors, along with some black colors. It's the fall, so you already know these kind of like fall colors. They do look like the fall leaves that be on the ground. Like that's the color inspiration I see for this 7. Pretty cool, not too much so much as informational about it. It's just the colorway. Air Jordan 7 Olive. Up next is the Air Jordan 9 Light Olive. I've seen what I would say a similar comparison to this and a regular Olive 9 that released about a week ago. So it's like almost Jordan is kind of doing the thing now where they have different parts to a certain shoe. If you've never seen with the Travis 1 Low Black Phantom, it was just an all black low 1. And they're releasing a new pair and previewing a new pair to be released in the future with a white midsole. It kind of changes the mood of the shoe, but as a consumer, we still see it as sort of the same shoe. And the first one that came out is usually going to be the best one. So I see what they did with this. It's just different types of colors. This one has a little less color, but it is a color change. So it's a decent Jordan 9. I'm pretty sure certain type of people that like it, it don't really matter, you know. It's Jordans. Air Jordan 9 Light Olive. A while, especially of this caliber, and by caliber I just mean height. They did fairly decent on the market after they ended up selling out instantly, of course. And they seem like to be a decent shoe. If you've been in the community and just watching the pairs that released within the past couple years, you would know that we normally don't get a lot of tools, but especially in 2023, Jordan is planning to release basically colorway line of tools. So this is something that the community is just wondering where it's going to go and concerns of affecting the market. But these are topics to save for a few minutes. The Air Jordan 2 Chicago. On to the second segment of the episode, where we usually talk about something within the community, or we just go over news. Right now, it's more of a foresighting of the market rather than, you know, consumers' opinion, right? What I mean when I say that is we're speaking on just Jordan 2s in general. It has a lot of the community just begging the question of where do we place these shoes in the hierarchy of retros? Are they a high price point shoe, mid price point shoe, or are they just expected to always hit outlets for the most part? With consumers, you know, it's just a certain target demographic that's only really gonna get the shoe, and by measurement I mean size, you know. And this may be shoes, some colorways might sell only 10.5 and up, and some colorways may sell the other way around, 8.5 and down. So resellers are basically just begging the question of where do we put this retro, and where does the average consumer find this shoe interesting? So I'm just here to give a bit of information of the history on the Retro 2 and just to dive in on it, because, you know, no one's really going over the history, and not everybody is still in the sneaker game after seeing the Retro 2 release in 1994. The main question resellers have are Retro 2s gonna provide the needed padding in the market? And by needed padding, I just mean releases that will be profitable beyond lunch money, beyond getting $20 back. When the Chicago's release, it was two things for me to take in mind. This was the first of its kind to drop, and also it was a Chicago colorway. And usually just the red and white and blacks, they just do well with the average consumer. And of course, it's an Air Jordan shoe. I'm pretty sure, no one's really used to having tools at the store or in their closet, so it's pretty fresh towards the population, and also the younger generation kind of get their own perception towards it because, like I said, they don't really know much about the history of Jordan. I don't think a lot of kids that are buying shoes now was around in '94 when these originally dropped, and they released in 2004 as a re-release. So I would have seen this shoe if I was 2 years old looking at Foot Locker shelves. So that's the main question, is will these shoes release and do well in the market where sellers are usually undercutting each other? Will the consumer respect it enough for it to reach a certain price point for a good profit? I said before, this isn't opinion based at all. This is entirely off information. One thing I found is that the Chicago ones did better than majority of the retro ones, whether they have been the Geo that's releasing now. I see one that has like a pocket on the back, and they have other types of ones, golf, low, and just high OGs, and maybe even some women's. But the Jordan 2 Chicagos did better than majority of the ones that released this year in 2022, and they released basically on the last day of the year. So it got a real chance to show its true identity within the market before Jordan goes on in 2023 and releases these other pairs that, I'm not gonna lie to you, look absolutely amazing. So they only really chose, I would say, like select colorways. This is extremely calculated, and Jordan is planning on turning this really into the next Nike Dunk if it gives it the right push towards the brand and what it does in the market. With that being said, I also do feel like these brands watch the market a lot more than resellers, because they just want to know the popularity of the shoe, and it does give them a literal price point on what the shoe could sell for beyond the retail value that they released it for. So it would just tell them how much they could make just in stock numbers, and how hype it is to us, and how much would be guaranteed to sell out. And the reason why I say that is because when the Jordan 2, and I'll say Retro 2 from now on, when the Retro 2 originally released in 1994, they went on sale. For some reason at the time, Jordan wasn't playing in them, so they already wasn't doing well with the marketing. Jordan used to wear every shoe he released, and he also went to state that he wore a new pair of shoes every night because it gave him a different type of feel. But historically, the Retro 2 didn't do good to the average consumer, so much so to the point where the price point was dropped from $100, which was $20 extra from what the original price was. Jordans used to be around $80 to $85, depending on where you was at, down to $20. So historically, to the average consumer, at least back in 2000, not 2004, in 1994, back in 1994, they wasn't really rocking with it that hard. But you also have to realize that there weren't other Jordans released, and just what's in the market as its entirety now, not even considering Jordans but other shoes. Maybe this may strike a chord with some consumers that just really want a retro Jordan, but they just tired of everything else they've been seeing. It's almost like Jordan had this Retro 2 in the vault, which is something that's pretty smart, but let's just see what happens with these colorways. And by my standards, what I'm saying is in the sneaker market concerning sellers, and how they're doing with the consumers, the average everyday consumers. In 1994, when the Retro 2 did flop, Jordan did state that the Retro 2 silhouette came straight from France, essentially really kind of making it almost a designer silhouette, the Retro one at least. They had to change the style because the original, not even blueprint, but they just had it as a shoe back in the day in the 1990s, and they ended up getting stolen. So they had to remake from another pair they had in the stock room in the back, and they didn't have much pairs because the shoe already didn't do well. So that's why in 94 it's kind of a higher and more ankle height difference when it comes down to the 1994 silhouette and the 2004 silhouette. So one thing that I did find with this is that the value of the shoe amongst the average consumer is normally based on just like kind of what SBs are now. Not only if the colorway is soothing and easy to style, but if the shoe has the proper theme to it, not necessarily just based on the name and not necessarily just based on the colorway, but more likely what can you do with the shoe when it's time to wear it. Not necessarily the silhouette either. That's why I mentioned that before. Although the 2004 silhouette is the one being used, I see this as really just a shoe that's fragile to whatever theme they release it as. It can do well. The Chicago did well, and I've seen colorways that are really better than the Chicago in every way. So I expect, honestly, a lot from these retro tools, and especially where the economy is. I think people are ready for something new right now, now more than ever. So it's good, you know what I'm saying? Glad you could make it to the fit check today. We keeping it simple with a little dash of detail, you know what I'm saying? Today, I'm not gonna lie to you, we're gonna start at the feet. I'm gonna keep it 100,000 with you. I know a lot of people say a lot about these shoes, but these been my favorite shoes since I was coming up. Ralph Simmons Oswego's, you know what I'm saying? These was the only red ones I like. I like them because they look like bubble gum, you know what I'm saying? And if you finna buy shoes like this, you have to have flavors, you know what I'm saying? So definitely went to go grab these, you know what I'm saying? I would say on occasion, but this the first time I really wore them on like a casual tip, especially with some sweatpants. So I'm definitely finna do this a lot more. You got regular plain black tee, gray Fruit of the Loom sweatpants, but they definitely make the sizing like, perfect with the rafts. You know what I'm saying? Now I got the low tops and the high tops. That's crazy. So then you can go on really to the hat. I mean, this hat really thrifted, but I knew that it'd go perfect with these. I don't really get to wear them much. I don't got much to match with it. Definitely try to pull them out in October, but I'll wear them when I want to. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, fit pretty simple. Appreciate y'all for checking in with your boy, tuning in. You rocking with me, you rocking with you at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like we in this together. Pretty sure there's a lot of people out there doing their own thing in the world. Keep doing you, achieving new levels, you know what I'm saying, and maintaining your safety and your mental health. So with that being said, appreciate y'all for rocking with your boy. It's your boy Snkrsloveme, and I'm out. Peace.